Fine morning to everyone. Thank you for coming in this early. How's the conference so far? Perfect. Good stuff? Great. So, I'm stoked this morning, very excited to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. It's the revolution that's happening today. Not today, but in the environment we're in. So I'm going to talk about this idea, or not idea, this situation we're in, where there's a revolution that's happening, but more importantly, how do we lead this revolution with a wonderful platform like SharePoint 2013? For those I haven't met, my name is Dux Raymond Sy, and again, it's a privilege for me to be here speaking to you. And my organization is Innovative E. We're based out of DC and Atlanta, and we focus and help a lot of organizations maximize the business value of SharePoint. Now, to clarify, and there's been some confusion yesterday, people were asking me, just to make sure that you're clear, I'm not that guy. Everybody walked up to me and said, Dux, I saw a video. Yeah, that was me, but I'm not that guy. So hopefully in the next hour, we'll see whose style is better. All right? So let's get the conversation started. I talked about this revolution, and the most common question I ask people and or customers I talk to is, are you guys ready for this revolution? What do you mean, Dux? There's a revolution that's brewing in the enterprise. We like it or not, it's here. How do you know? Well, there's the 4 telltale signs of this revolution. Number 1, we're in a world called BYOD. Bring your own device. I mean, stop and think about it. In this room alone, each person would have an average of 2 to 3 devices, as Arthur mentioned yesterday. Unfortunately, not everything is a Microsoft device, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. But that's the world we live in. When iPads first came out, who in the enterprise has to have it? Who? In your company. When iPads first came out, who? Sales, CEO, executive management. You got to make this work with our VPN. Y'all with me? Devices aside, if marketing needs something, some software, some collaborative tools, and IT can't give it to them, what do? Sign up for bots. Let's use Basecamp. Anybody use Basecamp? Or your people use Basecamp? Dropbox. I've seen companies collaborate in a Facebook group. UIOD. It's here. The second telltale sign that the revolution is here is just how fast things are moving. Mergers, acquisitions, companies rising, newspapers being bought. I keep up. I'm in the right town for it, right? Who would have imagined some guy putting out a video on July 15, 2012, 6 months later, would make $8 million in the most watched video on YouTube? Fast. How are we keeping up? We're relying on email, Excel. What about the revolution around doing more with less? We've been in this tight global economy crunch in the last 5, 6 years. And unfortunately, while things are picking up, budgets aren't growing for IT. We are asked to do more with less every single day. What are you doing about it? Lastly, we're in the age of social. We're in the age where working together, it's not just about emailing back and forth. We're in the age where information has to be real time because we work with people in different places, in different time zones, with different needs. What are we doing about it? You see, when we talk about social, I want to make some clarification. People have a misconstrued view of social, especially in the enterprise. When I work with decision makers and we start talking about this thing called social, they're like, we don't want that, Dux. We don't want no pictures of cat in our intranet. Just to give you a background, social, or the evolution of social tools, obviously started in the consumer space. But the concept or the need that we have as humans to connect with each other is not new. Social tools allowed us to facilitate engagement faster, better, sooner. I mean, when you think of social, you think of Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just look at your own personal life today. How many use email to keep up with family and friends? Really use email? Not much. Right? Today I use my personal email just to make sure I get my bank alerts when I need to pay my bills. But to keep up with family and friends, where do I go? Facebook. Right? I see all my college buddies are doing. They took a nice vacation. As long as I choose to follow them, and if I want to engage, I would like or comment, but see how powerful that is. Now, take that context and think about your companies, your organization. The problem we have is when we think of social and these new technologies, while as a tool they're great, we lose sight of the context. You see, we try. Dux, my business users, they want social stuff, so we went and bought Yammer, we used Jive, we used NewsGator. Dux, the boss saw 2013, and we rolled it out. You know, I have a wonderful 3-year-old daughter. Her name's Danica. She just had her birthday. She's into Tinkerbell these days. Disney does a great job of marketing those things. But anyway, so I bought her a puzzle, Tinkerbell puzzle. So I gave it to her as happy birthday. And I was quite disappointed because she just cracked the box open without reading the instructions. And started playing. And she couldn't figure it out for the first 5 minutes. She got frustrated. She goes, huh. She just walked to her dollhouse and then played with her old dollhouse. Does that sound familiar? Crybabies? Whiners? SharePoint socks? Dux, we tried. You know, we spent all this money with Microsoft, paid enterprise agreement, but we have a very expensive file share called SharePoint. I thought all these tools would make life better. I thought all these platforms and technologies would help us with this revolution. They would, but if it's in the right context. You see, I want to put everyone on the same page on what this thing, enterprise social, is all about, because that's a big buzzword. The best definition I found is from Gartner. So I want you to read this with me, okay, on the count of 3. Loud and clear. 1, 2, 3. Enterprise social is an important method for enhancing, that's enterprise social. Does it say anything about, oh, we gotta have newsfeed? Oh, enterprise social is about tagging and liking and commenting and yammering. Anyone? No. Enhancing communication, collaboration, coordination for business purposes. Hey, if you can do that with Excel, that's enterprise social. Lesson number 1. Don't get too caught up on the bright, shiny lights. Ooh, yammer, newsfeed, my sites, Power Pivot. Today's social generation, whether they know it or not, have these characteristics. The way we work today, we multitask. And I don't have to expound on that, because right now some of you are emailing, tweeting, listening to me. We communicate in real time. Email may not be real time, but we text, we IM, we Skype, we tweet. We work anytime, anywhere with anything, if possible. We expect seamless technology experience. How many of you have better technology at home than at work? And we want to keep up with who's doing what. These things aren't new. You know, when I talk about this with my customers, they're like, Sonny? One guy actually called me Sonny. You kids today, huh? Back in my days, we had a T-square. You know what T-square is? You don't need no social. I got my email, my Excel, I'm all good. I used to buy that. I used to think it's a generational thing. I used to think, they don't get it. But that's a lame excuse. Dux, you're in DC, you should know better. Of course. And it dawned on me a few months ago, I was with a customer in DC. I get this stuff. They're like, I'm not into that. Okay? At 5 o'clock, when this person clocked out, I walked out with her. First thing she does, took out her iPhone, downloaded apps, looked at Facebook, tagged, liked, played Candy Crushers. A wonderful 68-year-old woman. Generational gap is no excuse. We are in this day and age. So, okay, Dux, I get it. I get SharePoint. I get social now in a company perspective. But show me, what does that mean? What does enhancing communication, coordination, collaboration for business purposes mean? So, watch this.
History has taught us that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That working together, we are able to accomplish more than we could ever accomplish on our own. That when great minds come together, anything is possible. So we are reinventing the way people work together. We are making it easier than ever before to share ideas, discover connections, ask questions, find answers. Stay in sync. Organize information. And build a team that takes an idea, makes it a reality. SharePoint, the new way to work together.
What do you guys think? Is it cool? That's enterprise social. You see, there's a lot of value to enterprise social. First and foremost, it provides an unprecedented way to engage with your colleagues. Email, which is the #1 collaboration tool today, we like it or not, is not an efficient way. By the way, anybody know when email was invented? Want to guess? 1973. And it wasn't developed for what we're using it today for. The second value of enterprise social suite of technologies allows us to facilitate better collaboration. I mean, the guy walking his dog suddenly has a spark of enlightenment and inspiration, took a picture, posted it directly to Yammer. This is a cool idea for our new blade. And people saw that feed in Yammer. Wow, you should know about it, Joe. You're working on this new design. Y'all with me? It provides us to be more agile. The days of waterfall are gone. If you're working on a 5-year SharePoint project, something's wrong. Poser alert. And never before can we get connected. Imagine that guy posting something, oh, this is a cool idea. He didn't really talk to somebody, but since he's part of an organization, somebody's watching that, wow, that's a great idea. I know Joe was working on that too. There's tacit knowledge being picked up, which again, we can't do with email. When we look at Microsoft, a lot of us think social equals Yammer, or social equals SharePoint. Well, those are critical components. The way Microsoft looks at social, is really the whole stack. At the end of the day, like I said, what can help our customers or what can help the organization enhance communication, coordination, collaboration? Yeah, maybe SharePoint, maybe Yammer, but the way Microsoft looks at it is from the inside, internally to externally, which means it will rely on multiple sets or suites of tools. Y'all with me? That's enterprise social. Now, how do we get there, Dux? How can we lead this revolution with SharePoint 2013 and related technology? So I'm going to show you 3 specific ways. I'm going to demonstrate a couple of scenarios that 2013 can help you with, along with related tools that so you'll be well equipped when you go back as you consider 2013, and again, and how you can reap the business benefits of enterprise social. So, first step to lead this revolution that we're in. First and foremost, which is paramount, is we have to facilitate a way to collaborate efficiently in the organization. You know, collaboration is the big buzzword forever, but what does that mean? The way we should look at collaboration at the end of the day is how do we effectively get everyone on the same page? How can we work better together? Now, the word together and everyone is relative. Depending on who you are, what you're doing, what your interests, what your responsibilities are, it's not a one-size-fits-all. And that's okay. Because SharePoint 2013 as a platform can support you with that. Give me an example, Dux. Okay. So one of my biggest passions in life is in the area of project management. I got involved with SharePoint early on, around 2000, 2001. And I saw the power of this platform to be used for project management. Because at that time, the only tools that people would have or choices to use project management for is either email, which unfortunately people still use email today for project management, or high-end tools like Project Server, Primavera. Everybody use Primavera? All right. Clarity, right? There's no in-between. And I thought, boy, SharePoint would be great because it's a great platform to centralize information, to centralize communication, and it's a much easier step from email to SharePoint versus email to like a Clarity or Primavera. Y'all with me? So let's take a scenario of people working together on a project, and we've all worked on projects and are working on projects today. What if we take these suite of tools with SharePoint 2013 as the platform to help us to get people on the same page? So let's watch this example. I recorded this example using 2013 and suite of technologies people are familiar with.
Meet my colleague Alex. He and I are working on putting together a presentation for our boss. Thanks to SharePoint 2013, we're able to easily centralize and manage all related artifacts and communications for this project. On a typical day, Alex would start working from home using his Mac. He would check his email from a browser and start work from there. Looks like Alex is reviewing the task for the project, and he has some questions for me about the project. Just by using the browser, he's able to instant message me using technologies like Link. One of the key benefits of SharePoint 2013 is a deep integration with existing tools that we already use, like Microsoft Office, smartphones, and even web-based technologies. So even if I'm out and about, I'm still not at the office yet, I can easily respond to Alex on my phone and update my tasks. The beauty with SharePoint 2013 is that I can continue working with Alex once I get to the office. You just assign me a task on the project site, and look at what happens. It automatically shows up on my task list in Microsoft Outlook. Isn't that cool or what? Additionally, within Outlook, I can email the entire team directly using this neat feature called Site Mailbox. The Site Mailbox is available not only in Outlook, but it's the same Site Mailbox that the team can see and interact with directly on the project site. The Site Mailbox also provides visibility to all the documents I have, in the project site. So what do you think? Are you excited? I am. This is the new way to work together with SharePoint 2013.
So think about that. You see, a lot of us, when we think SharePoint, and this is the flaw in a lot of organizations, is we force people, go to SharePoint, go to SharePoint. Don't send that attachment. Go to SharePoint, upload a library, grab the link, pop in your email, then send that email. Do they do that? No. It's too much clicks. With a platform, just like what you saw, other than taking advantage of its capabilities, you have to consider change. It's too much change for people if we push them to say, you know, today you're using email, tomorrow you're going to use all the goodness called SharePoint or SharePoint. Not going to work, especially in this town. But what if you tell people, hey, whatever, you like your Mac? I use Mac, and I'm proud to use a Mac. Get over it. That's just how I roll. And that's okay. Because the 2013 platform, truly cross-platform, cross-browser compatible. Alex started his work at home. He needs to check on what's going on in the project, updates a task, check his email, fire up link on the browser and talk to me, which I got from my phone, which, by the way, doesn't even have to be a Windows phone. There's link applications for Android, iOS, just like what they showed yesterday. It's natural to me. But the powerful piece about this, friends, is SharePoint is the glue that holds everything together. I mean, come on, be realistic. While we have smartphones and tablets, what do we really use it for business purposes? Be honest. What do most people use their tablets for, really? Email. It's an oversized BlackBerry. Now, imagine if you can provide a platform so that people in the organization, at least in this example, can get started quickly. So, for example, this is my company intranet. We're using out-of-the-box SharePoint 2013, nothing fancy, right? I could have custom branded this much more, but this is fine. And in our company, there's different sites for departments, communities, but one of the things that we do is whenever we have a new project, we just go to this link called Projects, and I click on a box that says, I'm working on a new project, so let's create a new project, I don't know, SharePointFest DC. Now, in the interest of time, once I hit create, what happens? It spawns a project site, pretty much a template that has all the things I need for my project. It has a task list, a project notebook, and a lot of what you saw in the example. And then I went in and put in all these tasks. So let's say, let me go to my task list. And so this was for the executive presentation project. And in my task list, I've got all these tasks. By the way, I need to add more tasks here. So let me go to my task and let me hit quick edit and add some more tasks. Send presentation. Now, if you're noticing what I'm doing, if you don't realize this, check this out. I'm in the datasheet view in Firefox on my Mac. Those not nodding their heads didn't get what I just said. That's okay. Huge, right? Let's do August 10, 2013. Let me assign it to Alex. Okay. All right, so now, actually I put the wrong date format here. Let's see. Let me just do this. August 9th. Let me pick Friday. Okay, all right, so that's one, right? So again, I'm using a Mac, BYOD, that's okay. Right? I work on my terms, and that's what I love about this platform. You can collaborate on your terms. Be it a Mac, an iPad, Windows, what have you. Then the other thing is, with 2013, they made a lot of great inroads to get on the same page, and getting on the same page is the experience has to be as easy as possible. I joked earlier about uploading documents to the library and grabbing the link and all that. That is not a nice experience. Everybody with me? You can't help but have your users compare something like this to consumer technologies. In their minds, it's a website, it should be like Facebook. It should be like all these fancy HTML5, Web 2.0 kind of sites. 2013, they did a great job in making the experience and usability much better. So another example. Again, I'm in my Mac, and I'm in this thing called Finder. It's kind of like Windows Explorer. So I know I've got all these templates and files for the project. That's fine. So I grab all these files, and I'm going to upload it just by simply dragging and dropping as a way to upload. You think your users would love that? The other aspect is, in my library, for example, I got all these documents, and I just want to see what's in this change control document. I can simply hover my mouse over it. Thanks to Office Web Apps, it's going to display and show me a preview of that document, so I don't have to open it in Word. Additionally, it gives me a lot of the key properties, like who's working on this as well, who has access it, do I want to share it with other people, do I want to follow this document? That's huge. Because a lot of us know that we deal with a lot of content and information. The biggest question I always get asked, how do I know where's what? I mean, I'm in like 10 SharePoint sites, all these libraries. I'm scratching my head now where to go. Y'all with me? But now, with a lot of these social-like capabilities, not only can you follow people, you can follow relevant content, be it a document, a site, like this site, I can follow the site. And as you follow these different type of entities, it can all roll up to what's called a My Site. I think I'm still uploading, but anyway. But if I go to like My Site, the words My Site doesn't really exist anymore in 2013, but it's the same concept. Now I've changed my password. Give me 1 second here. But as I do that, okay? What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's one. That's called social engineering right there. Okay, all right, so now, as I do that, it goes to My Sites, and it rolls up an aggregate view of not only the sites I'm involved in, but I could be following sites that I'm not really involved in, but I'm just interested to see. There's that. I can look at my personal newsfeed, where, again, think about collaborating efficiently, getting on the same page. I need to get the same page on with myself, because I'm working on a bunch of stuff. So I can see all the information, not only about sites and documents, but I can pull up things like tasks I'm working on. It can roll up people I talk to and I interact with, and those are all built in to SharePoint 2013. Now, what else? At the end of the day, what I urge you to consider is when you want to showcase the value of SharePoint 2013 as an enterprise social platform, you don't go off and start showing features. Ooh, look at 2013. Theme sites, communities. No. There's so much stuff, as you already know, in SharePoint, and in 2013 there's so much more. The conversation should be around, how can I help you enhance your coordination, communication, collaboration? Y'all with me? And the way you do that with people in HR is different with project managers. It's different with people in finance. It's different with people at the executive level. The whole fast food approach that IT has been doing won't work. What do you mean by fast food approach? Louis, how do you like your SharePoint? Sites, surveys, wikis, you want to supersize it? Let's throw in BCS. Next! Your users don't say no to that, right? You give them templates, they'll take it. But what happens? It's a big file dump. 80% of global SharePoint deployments is nothing but a big file share. It's like having a nice Ferrari. You first got it, wow, it's a nice car, expensive car. And 10 minutes later, you realize, I just learned how to ride a bike yesterday. I don't know what to do with this thing. And I don't have time. I'm too busy. I got to get my work done. It'd be cool if my work is I'm an IndyCar racer or NASCAR racer, but that's not my job. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave this nice car in the garage, stuff a bunch of files in there, ride my bike to work, I'll email, even if it's slow, but I'll get there. Yes? That's what happens. And now you question why you don't get adoption. I urge you, friends, when you want people to collaborate efficiently, get on the same page quickly, go after low-hanging fruits. You know, a lot of us from IT, we want to go after cool, complex stuff. Ooh, we want 2013. We want to hook up our web services. We want to integrate with SAP, CRM, run DMC. That's what we do. We're IT. The users, there's no value to them. But you want to get them on board. You want to get them stoked and excited. Go after low-hanging fruits. You know, you can still use your Mac. There's this feature, you use your Mac, you can update tasks, and they'll see it on his phone, you can say, I'm done, 100%. Really? You can still use my phone and my Mac? Yeah. Lower barrier to entry. You want to address pain points. We all know the pain people suffer with email going back and forth, very manual, people lose stuff, who has the latest version. Do not sell SharePoint as a glorified file share. Because that's what we do. We say, hey, here's SharePoint. That's where you can put files. That's like the new network share. That's like the new X drive. You're undermining the value of this platform if that's how you pitch SharePoint. Shame on you. You suck. You have to identify quick wins, right? And this is low risk not only for you, the implementer, but also the business themselves. It's less risk to tell them, hey, Luan, you know in Excel, there's this thing you could do to synchronize with SharePoint. Let me show you. Excel? I know Excel. That's cool. You know in Outlook, you can have a calendar shared with other people by connecting to Outlook. I know Outlook. Y'all with me? You know you can use your Mac or iPhone? Oh, I love my iPhone. Is there an app for that? Yeah. It's called Harmony or Share Plus. Quick wins. And utilize familiar tools. That's huge from a change management perspective. People would be more accepting if they see something familiar first. I'm not saying they're going to do everything in Excel or Outlook or iPhone, but once you get them in, they would want more. And when they want more, it's an easier sell to say, oh, you want workflow? You can go here, create your workflow, etc. Y'all follow me? Next. When we talk about enterprise social, it's a two-way street. When we talk about enterprise social, we're talking about how SharePoint empowers bottom-up organizations, so people doing the work, project teams, Miss Sally in accounting, HR managers, so that at the highest level or at the higher level, it enables them to make top-down business goals more successful. When we talk about collaborating more efficiently, we're not just talking about people doing the work. Equally as important are the decision makers. The platform supports that. For example, with SharePoint 2013, there's a lot of great business intelligence capabilities. I mean, the old tools that we know is still there. Things like Performance Point, Power Pivot, but there's new technologies like Power View, which is fantastic. I'll show this to you in a second. Recently, Microsoft announced in their Office 365 SharePoint Online platform, they introduced Power BI, another fantastic technology to provide better insights. So let me show you an example. So let me go back to my intranet. Okay, I think this will now kick me out because I've just changed my password. Oh no, okay. So let me go to my list of projects. So this is my intranet, our list of projects. So when you talk about insights and visibility, now what you're looking at here, friends, is yet another SharePoint technology. It's Project Server 2013. This is actually a technology that sits on top of SharePoint. And as a decision maker, I want to see what all the projects that we have. So if I click on projects, it shows me all the different projects we have running in the company. So I can slice and dice it however I want. I can see what's ahead, what's behind, what are we working on this week. Now think about this. For the project team, they don't have to deal with this. The project team can work in their little SharePoint site. Y'all with me? While the decision makers, the powers that be, they can look at the big picture, and the executive presentation project is even there. So globally, we can have insights so we can make better decisions. Now, think about your world today. Don't you love it when every Tuesday all the program managers sit together, fire up an Excel file, trying to figure out where our projects are at? Well, Dux, you got to figure out what the resources are doing. So email me all the Excel files. So let's do a game called Tetris here. And then you realize, what? We spent $1 million for nothing? Yeah, that happened 2 weeks ago. You laugh, but it's happening like right now. You just lost $500,000. But what if the information is real-time and visible? The fact that if something gets updated in the executive presentation project, it can roll up to the decision makers. Other than looking at all these insights about the project, I can look at who's doing what. So I can look at across my organization and look at resources and look at availability. Because Dux, we have to plan for the next fiscal year. We got to figure out if we need to hire more people or we don't, right? So now I can pull up Alex, Amy, and Duncan and look at between this time frame what people are working on. Alex is working on all these projects. In fact, the week of May 6th, he has 200 hours worth of work allotted for him. What's wrong with that? We're in DC. So let me ask you this, from an insights perspective, how do you do this today? Yeah, it's kind of hard, Dux. Now, Dux, I mean, for real, do people really do this? Yeah. And if you want more customized type of reports, there's a lot of reporting capabilities built in, again, from Performance Point to Excel services to new technology. So let me pull up some reports for you, sample reports. So let me pull up a report that's on resources. We just talked about resources. So let me pull up a simple report, and here. And what I'm showing you here is essentially an Excel file that is pulling information from the list of resources that I have. It's called the resource pool. And it's rendering it in a technology called PowerView, which is new in 2013. And PowerView is pretty cool because it provides an animated way to display information. Now, what does that mean, Dux? You guys know if there's movies around like Epidemic? What was that movie, Dustin Hoffman, where there's like an outbreak? It's Outbreak? So when the outbreak first happened, somebody had to report to the president and says, Mr. President, this is the map of the U.S. The outbreak started here 6 hours ago. In 10 hours, it's going to grow. In a week, it's going to take over the entire country. Y'all with me? That's kind of like PowerView. So not only can you provide visual reports, you can also model and forecast information. So this shows all the project that we have. Show me everything in 2013. Real time, right? So it's going to filter it on the fly. And by the way, this works on an iPad. Right? Well, show me everything that's in 2012 but not 2013. Is that cool? You think your executives would like this? You know, they like dashboards, right? By the way, that's a secret to career success. You want to get promoted at work? When you see your boss, when you go back to work, look at them in the eye and say, dashboard. Instant promotion. Tell me you're a GS12. A lot of organizations out there are taking advantage of this platform. Let me show you. While this is not 2013, but conceptually, these organizations are benefiting from it. They're using SharePoint. So, in case you don't know, I show this all the time, but this is the Virginia Department of Transportation Public Dashboard. It tracks a lot of different key performance indicators, or KPI as they would call it. What's the performance of the agency, safety, condition, projects. You could drill down and look at different project information. Guess what? This is powered by SharePoint. Is the information Dux coming from SharePoint? Yes, and more. The power of SharePoint as a platform, not only can it work with existing Microsoft technologies, it has open APIs, industry standard technologies, which we'll talk more about, that you can make it interact with other systems. Another example, in case you don't know, and this is the dashboard of all dashboards, it's a website called recovery.gov. Recovery.gov tracks the stimulus package that was doled out 5 years ago or so, powered by SharePoint. You could drill into a specific state and see how much money they got, what projects are being worked on with that money, how is the status of the project, how many jobs were created. Now, being in DC, for some reason, everybody hates Microsoft. You know, I always get that IT guy, hey, SharePoint can't do that, it doesn't scale, it's not secure. Well, let me show you recovery.gov. It's not secure. What about security? It's just not secure. Irrational fear. That's what it is. So, when we talk about getting on the same page, I'm not talking about just working on the same file. While that's valid, you can do a whole lot more. Y'all with me? Only a couple people are with me. Are you all with me? Yes. It's my southern thing coming out here, you know? I'm from the deep south, Southeast Asia, Manila. When we talk about collaborating efficiently, we're talking about, again, people in the organization from the bottom and also at the top. A great case study. This is the French airport in Paris. There's a couple of airports there. I think this is for Charles de Gaulle. But with 2013, what was their pain? You know, as you can imagine, an airport has a lot of data, from flight schedule to passenger information to baggage stuff. They have a lot of data that's isolated, that's siloed, and they have a lot of different systems. And as you can see, operations in an airport every second counts. How can they get the information quickly, faster, sooner, and more relevant? So they implemented SharePoint Search initially and all the social capabilities, what I just showed you. So not only can people go out and look for stuff effectively, by the way, if you don't know, SharePoint 2013, the search engine pretty much is fast. You know, in 2010 you have fast, you have to buy extra. Now it's embedded in 2013. And what happened? People can find more relevant information quicker, provide better service to customers, and they can work better together because of all the social capabilities. If you can, go out to the web. You talk about airlines, or in the airline industry. United Airlines, it's a big SharePoint organization. They're doing great things with SharePoint. Hawaiian Airlines. Right? So that's the first step. When you want to lead this revolution, you got to step back, look at these suite of tools and say, what does it offer to me, my company, my organization, so we can work together, collaborate together better and efficiently. The second step, while all that's great, Dux, bless your heart, you're trying hard up there, we as IT, we're short-staffed. You said it yourself, right? Yeah, I can see the first step, we can help BYOD, we can be more agile, but what about me, IT? Our budget's cut. I can't do all this stuff. There's no way. How can I be more proactive instead of being reactive to my company? Okay? With 2013, it can help you. Now, let me fess up. My name's not really Dux. It's Dux L. My father's Jor-El. My grandfather's Callum. I thought I could do it all. I thought I'm the SharePoint man. Unfortunately, I failed. I thought on top of my day job as a Windows admin, I could be the SharePoint dude. Because my boss told me to roll out SharePoint to 5,000 people in 3 weeks, and I failed flat on my face. Of course. Hopefully by now you know, as a business platform, while the technology is important, there's other areas you have to consider. And I'll talk more about this in a second. But how can 2013 help me, Dux, from a technology perspective? How can I be more proactive and not reactive to the business? I'm showing you a couple of examples in 2013. In SharePoint 2013, the goal is to manage information and not infrastructure. They made a lot of great improvements from an IT pro perspective. Simple things like, how do you provision sites? Right? Before, we don't want to have users create their own site collection. Of course not. But they always have to fill in a ticket request, IT gets bogged down, blah, blah, blah. So you can put more rules and automate a lot of the repetitive process. So that's just one example. Another example in 2013 is in the area of compliance. Anybody have to deal with HIPAA, Sarbanes-Oxley, FDA Part 11, FISMA? SharePoint 2013 is certified, compliant, a lot of industry standard compliance. In fact, Arpan was talking about yesterday, the cloud version, Office 365, is the only cloud solution that's approved by FISMA standard. So if your job is to make sure not only the infrastructure is up, but you should protect your information asset, a lot of great tools and technologies for e-discovery, not only in SharePoint, but across the stack, is now available. You can manage content retention policies, manage things like site mailboxes, and again, if you're all in 2013, there's relationships with Exchange and all that good stuff. Make your life easier, and what you're going to find in this day and age as IT, our role will be less and less and less of being a plumber keeping the lights on, but more of a mentor, advisor, consultant to our organization. All right? 2013 is architected so it can grow with you, and it's built for the future. I already alluded to this. The technology are using industry standard technologies. On the client side, things like HTML5, jQuery. On the back end side, from an authentication perspective, it's using OAuth authentication. So when you want to consume and interact with data, right? We can reuse application and logic. We can build apps. I'll talk more about apps in a second. So the idea is, if you want to provide a way for your organization to collaborate efficiently, there should be a way for you, as solution providers, to manage effectively, and 2013 has that. Anybody remember back in the days of SharePoint 2003? You miss those days? You don't miss STS ADM? Can you still use STS ADM in 2013? Do you know, Lewin? No? I'm rusty because I started PowerShelling. See, I can still talk tech talk here. Anyway, so the other part, while it has a lot of great inroads to help you manage your infrastructure better, keep in mind, again, you have to think about how you manage change. I love this quote from Machiavelli. There's nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. The hardest part around all this goodness is change. Right? So what do we do, Dux? On one hand, you're saying we should use all these great things so we can collaborate better, but on the other hand, you're telling me change is hard. So how do we pitch that change? First and foremost, you have to prioritize. So let me show you an example here. You have to prioritize and make sure that your business would see that this change is good, that this change would help them, and it's not just about using a new website. How do you do that? So here's an example. I show this all the time, but this is a tool that we use as an organization when we work with our customers to help them build a roadmap for SharePoint on how to maximize SharePoint. What you're seeing here is an organization for 8,000 people, and this was actually when they were upgrading to 2010, which doesn't really matter. The process is the same. So one of the first things that we did in this exercise, which is not a lot of time, is I want to find out what pain points the business groups are experiencing day in and day out. Y'all with me? Things like project management, invoice processing, whatever. So I talked to different organizations. You got operations, HR, and finance. And, I spent an hour with them, and they're telling me, Dux, one of our pain points is our SOP creation process. It's too manual. We use email, we grab that Word document, and that email chain, it's just bad. And if somebody drops the ball, it's a problem. So as they're describing this to me, what I do is on column C, I map it to an out-of-the-box capability of the platform, SharePoint, and there may be related technologies here. So I'm trying to formulate a solution on the top of my head based on what they describe. Y'all follow me? And that's another important aspect of this exercise. When you do this, you always think about out-of-the-box capabilities of SharePoint. So you got to know your SharePoint and related stack. If you know that out-of-the-box can't do it, then do third-party. We have a lot of great partners out there that can provide solutions on top of SharePoint. Custom development and custom coding is the last resort. If you know you can't do it because regulations or third party doesn't have it, then yeah, go call your developer. Build or develop some custom code. But I warn you, again, custom code is the last resort because it's not going to be as scalable. It's more costly to maintain. So if you're working with somebody, a so-called SharePoint expert, in your first 5 minutes of conversation, if out of their mouth they say, yeah, we can custom develop a solution in Visual Studio and deploy it, poser alert. And I'm not saying custom code is wrong, but make sure you go through out of the box and think about third party first. Now, after I do this exercise, the last question I ask is, okay, HR, if there's one thing we can solve right now, what would that be? Dux, if we can automate this onboarding process better, faster, sooner, that would be awesome. It's going to prevent people from hanging out the hallway when they come join our company on their first day. Have you had that? People hanging out the hallway, first day of work, because logins weren't created, Office weren't provisioned. Never happens at Microsoft, right? Why? Because IT missed that email that says, we just hired Dux, can you create an account for him? But what if we can make that better? So as you do this conversation, you get the business pain points. Next, you map it and measure it so you can identify priorities. Column A shows the different departments, and column B shows all the technologies and features I've extracted based on their business needs. Y'all see that? When people ask me, Dux, what feature should we roll out? Should we have My Site? Should we have news feeds? Should we have wikis? I go, I don't know. What problems are you trying to solve? Whereas in this approach, if you look at this, okay, we need libraries for HR, we need workflow for HR. Why? Because these workflows will help automate the onboarding process, which will minimize people from hanging out the hallway every year. Y'all follow me? Business matters. SharePoint doesn't matter. And then we take the priority based on what they describe. Lists and libraries will always be 5, high priority. We measure what's the size and effort to build these lists for HR. What's a 2? I have my own standards here. 2 means 3-person weeks, or 1 means 20 hours, whatever. Again, that's going to be different for you. So it's going to take 3-person weeks to build all the lists for HR. What's the business impact? It's a 3, high impact, because it's going to, again, instead of 10 people hanging out the hallway on the average every year, we can reduce it to 5. How reusable is this solution? 3. 3 means we can templatize it. Not only HR can use it, other groups can use it too. And then we have a total value. This is a 9. Now we have a good sense of what tools and features and capabilities in this platform that we can reap the benefits right away, second and third. Is this helpful? Guess what? We never do this. What we do is the business goes, hey, we want SharePoint. Okay, we'll roll out your SharePoint. Have fun. But we never step back and engage a conversation. What does this mean? And when you do this, you bring the business back to the room. Now you can say, hey, boss, I'm the Windows guy. I know you told me to roll this out in a month for 5,000 people, but I did my homework, and this is what SharePoint means. As you can see, there's no possible way I could do it by myself. So what are we going to do about this? If you want me to do all this, it's going to take 30 years on top of my day job. Right? Because while there's value to the business, like HR, operations, all that good stuff, what's the impact to IT? Right? The impact to IT to build all these lists for HR, it's 20 hours because we need to set up a site collection, configure authentication, blah, blah, blah. What's the support impact? What's the training impact? A total impact of 3. Even if it's a 9 for HR, it's a 3 for IT, we don't have that budget for this fiscal year, we can't do it. HR would say, oh, no, it's valuable, it's helpful. What if we invest in this solution as well? Is this going to help us? Okay, this is a great way to ask for money. Well, IT is responsible for the spend on the platform, keeping SharePoint up, all that. If it's truly going to provide business value, make them pay for it. And that's what we don't do today. We don't make them pay for it. What people don't pay for, they don't what? They don't appreciate, they don't value. I should tell that to my wife. No, just kidding. I love her to death. She's awesome. Okay. And then you come into a conversation with business and IT, come to a consensus. Okay, what are we going to do about this? All right, we decided that phase 1, we're going to do this. Phase 2, phase 3. In this example, this is a 15-month rollout of SharePoint. Did it change? Yeah, it changed. Did people come to you halfway and say, Dux, I don't like how SharePoint looks, make it pretty? Yeah, they did that, but what did I do? I came back here once. I don't see making it pretty as a business need. Do you guys want a copy of this? Okay, $100 a download. No, just kidding. I'll make sure you all get it, okay? Now, so you prioritize business needs, and then the next part, as a part of making it manageable, you have to drive and establish sustainable adoption. If there's 2 words you remember in this presentation, it's those 2 words. Sustainable adoption. You see, the problem with us today, when we think adoption, we equate adoption to training. Not enough. I've seen it over and over. Oh, we're going to roll out 2013. Okay, we got the servers ready. We got the database good. Security's configured. Oh, what about adoption? Okay, we'll just send it to end user training. Check. No. If you invest in SharePoint, it's like investing in marriage. It's a good thing, but it's not a one-time thing. How do you sustain and grow your relationship with SharePoint? Yeah, you do the goals of sustainable adoption is threefold. Number 1, you have to drive excitement. When I started talking about this, IT folks like, Dux, we don't use the word excitement in IT. I mean, look at me. I have pocket protectors, tucked in, vertical glasses. That's exciting. You gotta be more metro, some bow tie, glasses. You gotta inspire and excite people. What do you mean? I mean, the example you showed earlier, that video, does that excite you? Yeah. I can use my phone, I can use my Mac to make my job better, faster, sooner. And the excitement should be leading to facilitating change, right? If that whole exercise around project management saves me more time, allows me to make decisions faster, better, sooner, right? That's facilitating change. And lastly, you should be able to empower and assist your organization to grow. How do you do that? I talk about this a lot. I write about this a lot. So, just look it up. I'll send some resources. But think about how you sustain adoption. One of the great things Microsoft is about to release is a whole adoption kit called DiscoverSharePoint.com. You can go to the website now. DiscoverSharePoint.com has a lot of great adoption resources. So let me bring it up for you. Okay, if I go to DiscoverSharePoint.com, what Microsoft did is, again, they look at what the business needs are. Right? It's the other way around. It's not just pitching capability. So if you are in HR, okay, what are some of the common activities you do? Onboarding, right? And then how can you use SharePoint to help you? So in a few weeks, you'll see a video, step-by-step example on how to use out-of-the-box 2013 to put together an onboarding solution. And this entire site pretty much is downloadable, so you can host it internally, all these videos, to empower your users. Y'all with me? Adoption is not just about, here's a site, here's a list, here's a library, here's a web part. You flip the conversation. Don't you hate it when you have to send emails back and forth, and when the new employee comes in, email sucks. Well, check this out, how you can do it better. You know, you start using Excel, hook it up to SharePoint, blah, 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 blah. Not only do you have these use cases available, gang, we have a full-blown Getting Started kit, which you can download. And it's a guidance for IT on how you drive adoption. I help write this adoption guide. There's checklists and guidance and a lot of good stuff. But Microsoft realizes, since it's a big platform, the way to engage is the ability to help the business. How do you guys like the keynote so far? Helpful? I just want to make sure he's giving me the stink eye. No. The third step to lead this revolution. We said the first step is you got to ensure that people collaborate efficiently, get on the same page quickly. The second step, we should be able to manage this effectively, and as you can see, we can with the 2013 platform. The third step is we have to have consistent wins. We have to win consistently. We have to build enthusiasm over time. I look back to my marriage. I'm almost married 10 years. But I realized, just like when I talk about sustainable adoption, when we got married, my wife got excited, And then 3 months later, it's business as usual. It's not a bad thing. I mean, that's life. So it's incumbent upon me to continuously drive that excitement. What's my next win? Y'all with me? So we started looking at a house. She got excited. We got that house. We got it furnished. 6 months later, life as usual. It's a new norm. Y'all follow me? So what's my next win? I think she likes to go to Europe. It'll take longer time. I don't have the budget for that for this fiscal year. But we went to Europe. Then we had kids. We had that first birthday. Y'all with me? It's the same attitude. You see, if you invest in this platform, it's a big change. So the change has to be step-by-step, quick wins, providing value. And how do we win consistently? There's no single bullet for it. What does winning look like for you? I hope it's not this guy. You see, winning, at the end of the day, comes back to business value. Everybody has different business initiatives. Everybody has ideas around making more money, cutting costs, driving better and faster innovation, and facilitating better engagement. Winning, for example, for the Red Cross, every time there's a natural disaster, there's already a SharePoint site that gets deployed with all the templates and contacts and documents they need to facilitate all the rescue teams. Hurricane Katrina, a lot of people don't know this. One of the first tools that helped facilitate collaboration was WSS2. Way back when, Windows SharePoint. Do you know that the CDC has a big project right now where they're going to build a global epidemic dashboard using SharePoint, and it's going to tap into every single thermal cameras in airports. When you go to international airports, there's cameras monitoring your body temperature. So it's going to tap into all these data, and it's going to present it in a global epidemic dashboard so they can predict if there's an epidemic outbreak somewhere. That's what winning is for them. We worry about sharing files. Think bigger. What are the possibilities? You see, when you want to grow in SharePoint, a lot of us get stuck in this rut that, we're just going to migrate our intranet to SharePoint. It's all good. We're going to migrate Drive X to SharePoint. It's great. That's okay. That's valid, but think bigger. When you think SharePoint as a platform, especially with 2013, extended beyond just an intranet. What about project management? What about extranets? What about public-facing site? In 2013, they made a lot of great inroads in branding. You know how you love branding in 2010, 2007, right? Custom branding. In 2013, guess what? Your true web designers can use Dreamweaver now. You know, Dreamweaver? Dreamweaver. Industry standard HTML code for the brand, and you can suck it into a technology called Design Management. But other than these specific solutions, guess what? All these things can interact with existing technologies people use, like Windows, PCs, Office, and even non-Microsoft devices. Let me show you an example. So let me go to the project site. In fact, okay, right here. So you see in 2013, every SharePoint site comes with what's called a site notebook, okay? And this site notebook technology, gang, is using a technology called OneNote. Y'all heard of OneNote? I love OneNote. If you don't use OneNote, use OneNote. It's great. If you think about OneNote, OneNote's kind of like an informal notebook. You know, take down notes, abstract ideas, unstructured data, and then you can push it to other stuff. You see, this OneNote notebook, not only is it visible from the browser, thanks to Office web apps, but that same OneNote notebook, let me jump into Windows, you can open it in your OneNote client in Windows too. Now, let's talk about winning, right? So, let's say, and this actually happened to one of my customers, Dux, we got all these project sites, thanks for helping us, but a lot of our projects are physical, building physical stores. This is a retail customer that they actually build physical stores. And one of the things that we do, we have to capture pictures or video with our iPads if there's cracks or, the construction's not good, because we'll get in trouble with OSHA if we don't file these things. Y'all with me? Valid problem. So at that point in time, they're already using SharePoint to centralize information, all the tasks, communications, templates, whatever. But then it's disconnected with these pictures and videos. Thus, it would be great if we don't just take pictures and email it. Can we just take a picture and somehow directly goes to that project site so it's related? Y'all follow me? I said, you're not my son. Of course. You know OneNote? Oh, yeah, I like OneNote. Okay, here's what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we'll have a OneNote notebook on your site, and obviously they can access their site on any device, iPad, iPhone, Windows Phone. So what you're going to do now, and by the way, OneNote takes anything, text, video, audio, whatever. So if you want to take video or audio, just take a picture or audio and stick it in OneNote on the site. No emailing, nothing. It'll just show up. Not only will it just show up, people can subscribe to it, have alerts, have workflows. So if the right people need to be notified, they will be notified. Y'all follow me? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I jump into that same site. Julie, can you help me here? Can you take a picture of me with this group? All right. I'm going to tag all of you on Facebook, so it's fine. Got it? All right, let's give Lou a big hand. In fact, I'm going to give him a book. All right, so what did I just do, right? Let me make sure, okay? So, the fact that I jumped on the site, my project, BYOB, I'm on site, I used my iPad, took a picture, took a video, I just left it alone. As long as there's the internet, it's going to sync. Give it a couple seconds to see it. But when it syncs, there might be workflow there to say, oh, if Dux posted something, notify this person because it was posted on the OSHA issues notebook. Y'all with me? How powerful is that? Some of you may be thinking, well, Dux, good for you, but we don't have 2013 yet. Guess what? This is not even new. It's been there since 2010. You could do this today. Who doesn't know about this? Now, I'll carry on. I'll go back to that. So you can grow with SharePoint, address the needs you have. You can extend business solutions with apps. So in 2013, they've introduced the app model. I'm sure a lot of you have attended sessions on apps. It's great. Not only can you use apps that are offered in the App Store from Microsoft, Internally, you can build your own apps. You can control these things too, so you can make decisions as to which apps your users can use and not use. Same concept as apps that people are familiar with. And again, what did we talk about? Change? Apps. People are familiar with the concept of apps, and it's there. The other key area that allows you to win is to utilize SharePoint for business-critical solutions. A lot of us still use SharePoint as a file share, but guess what? It can do much, much more. Think about recovery.gov. Think about the Virginia Department of Transportation. We're currently working with the EPA on their SharePoint platform. We've integrated not only with SharePoint, it has Project Server, it has SQL Server, it has TFS. Anybody like TFS? Team Foundation Server. Yeah? So the developers do their stuff in TFS, rolls up in SharePoint as a report. We've used Enterprise Architect with it. Anybody familiar with Enterprise Architect? Or heard of Enterprise Architect? You can do it. You can grow with it. Right? Oh, there you go. Check that out. Let's look at my client. Oh! The new way to work together. This is just a great story I just shared. The Environmental Protection Agency. I just sent a tweet about this. So we're continuously working with them, growing their platform, and we're moving them to 2013. The value is when this platform was rolled out, first 2 months, it was expected to save $2 million of your money and my money. So these are the 3 steps to lead the revolution. With 2013, it allows you to collaborate efficiently, manage effectively, and win consistently. Now, I want to end this conversation with this picture. Some of you may not know, first of all, if you guys aren't familiar with this picture, this is a picture of a dragon boat rowing team for the country of Philippines. Anybody know dragon boat rowing sport? If you're not familiar, it's a big sport in Asia. It's like a bunch of people canoeing. So this is the Philippine team. Back in 1994-95, the Associated Press took a photo because they won second in the World Championships. Well, the guy cheering is actually me. Yes, I have a job. Who became an IT geek. That's cooler, right? So I cheered because I thought we won first when we crossed the finish line. And when I raised my head again, I saw we won second. China won half of a second more than, the difference was half a second. Y'all follow me? They won first. That's cool. But what's my point, right? Did you think we won by waking up one day, a week before this competition, and deciding we're going to win that race? Did we do that? No. You know how long we trained for this? How long did you train for that? 6 months. And the 6 months was just training for the world finals. We were already rowers, dragon boat rowers. In the first 3 months of the training, all we did were cardio and calisthenics running around. I was very frustrated with our coach. I said, Coach, why don't we jump on our boat right away and start rowing? He said, you got to build up your cardio. Boss, our coach, we have a nice boat. It's all fiberglass. It's all great. He said, Dux, don't get too caught up on your nice ride. He said, it's not about the journey. He said, I'm building you guys up step by step, inch by inch, so we will win because it's about the destination. On the 5th month of training, since I'm the steersman, my job is to keep the boat straight because if we veer off just a little bit, it may cost us a second or two. So that's my job, keep it straight. But part of my job is also to dock the boat once we're done training. On the 5th month, I'll never forget when I docked it and I was getting off the boat. I didn't know underwater there's like this rusted nail. I stepped on it. Was it painful? Heck yeah. I was off training for 3 weeks. Did I stop and thought about not doing this anymore? No. I know it's going to be painful. So what's my point, friends? This journey to revolutionize your organization is not going to be overnight. This journey is not about the boat. It's not about SharePoint. It's about your goal of winning and getting to that destination. I can never explain the feeling I had. Once we passed that mark that we won, never in my life, so I have been so proud to represent my country, at that time the Philippines, but even more, this was all worth it. So, thank you for being a gracious audience, and hopefully you found that beneficial. Tell you what, if you're interested, I'll give everybody a copy of that book that I gave Lewin. Just stop by the booth and have my colleagues scan you. I'll send you a code so you can download a free ebook copy from O'Reilly. All right? Enjoy the rest of the conference.